Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn history. Today the Colossus of Rhodes, and afterward we're going to do a bit standing yoga. And if you participate in the standing yoga, that is at your own risk. The Colossus of Rhodes. So it's first not Colossus but Colossus. Or Rhodes. Rhodes, the chief island of Dodecanese and 12 miles, 90 kilometers from the coast of Turkey, has had a long and varied a history as almost any island in the Mediterranean. Now I understand what it was said, but I don't understand the grammar. Let's do it again. Rhodes, the chief island of the Dodecanese and 12 miles from the coast of Turkey, has had a long and varied a history as almost any island in the Mediterranean. I haven't read the book, but that's the grammar going like that. Okay, where is the Dodecanese Sea? That seems to be a sea, somewhere near Greek, at the coast of Turkey. And where is Rhodes? And it is 12 miles far from the Turkey coast. A Greek island now, as it was in ancient times, Rhodes also experienced rule by the Romans, Persians, Arabs, Venetians, Genoese, the crusading knights of St. John, and the Turks. So during the history, in the last 2,000-3,000 years, there were one time on Rhodes, on that island off the coast of Turkey, or Greek, the Romans, the Persians, the Arabs, the Venetians, the Genoese, and the crusading knights of St. John and the Turks. Much of this, I'm going to give you no graphic. Okay, I think it's okay. Much of this checkered past is revealed in the rich architectural heritage of the city of Rhodes. Okay, Rhodes is a city. That city is on the island Rhodes in the Sea of Dodecanese, somewhere around Turkey and Greek, in the Mediterranean Sea. And that there was sometimes this or that government, like the Romans, Persians, Arabs, Venetians, Genoese, crusading knights and Turks, is seen in the different types of architectural style and the heritage of the buildings which are still standing. But only a simple pillar in the harbour marks the presumed site of Rhodes' most famous monument, the Colossus. So of this Colossus, but I don't think it had looked like that if it existed, is a pillar, maybe that one. And that is all we have, and the rest has to be imagined. Okay, there's today only in the harbour a pillar standing, and that pillar could be a part of the famous Colossus. In 312 BC, Rhodes decided to join King Ptolemy of Egypt in his war against Antigonus of Macedon and greatly contributed to Ptolemy's success. Is Rhodes now a city, an island, or a person? There was 312. So 2,300 years ago, and where did Rhodes, the island, the people of the country, joined the king Ptolemy, who was the king of Egypt, in the war against Antigonus of Macedon. And they contributed to the success of the Egyptian king Ptolemy against the Macedonian king Antigonus. Smarting for revenge, the Macedonians returned to punish Rhodes a few years after and besieged the city with a vast force of men and ships. Okay, now I want to say at this point a disclaimer. I right now don't know if what is written here is what the story is, what people say it is, or if they have scientific facts underlying these stories. I don't know, maybe we're going to tell it later. Now, the Macedonians, they wanted revenge. The Rhodes people had supported the Egyptian king against the Macedons, and they came now and besieged Rhodes. Though they were greatly outnumbered, the Rhodians managed to beat back the Macedonian attacks for a whole year until Ptolemy of Egypt finally sailed to their rescue. So, Rhodes was besieged for 1 year, and after that 1 year, when the Egyptian king Ptolemy of Egypt, whom they had supported in the war against Macedonians, who were now besieging them, came and supported them. Among the defenders of Rhodes had been a sculptor, Charles of Lindus. To commemorate their deliverance from the Macedonians, the jubilant Rhodes commissioned Charles to create a huge bronze sculpture in honor of the island's patron deity, the sun god Helios or Apollo. Okay, the island's Rhodes, they had a sun god that was either Helios or Apollo, and they now went to this Charles of Lindus and said to him, make us a great bronze statue in honor to Helios and Apollo, who are the ones who have helped our island to resist the attacking Macedonians. As an additional memorial to the Great Siege, the Colossus was to be cast entirely from metal taken from the war engines abandoned by the Macedonians. Okay, we wanted to commemorate that we had won the thing, and now we want to take the war machines, so the ships and the metal and their armor, and the idea was to make out of that big Colossus. The task took Charles 12 years, from 292 until 280 before Christ. According to one story, when the statue was all complete, Charles found that he had made a mistake in his calculations. Okay, we're going to talk now a bit about something seriously about self-harm, and he didn't want to live on that. If this is true, it amounted to history's greatest piece of self-criticism. So we're going to say here now, that person was really not happy that he had forgot something. What did he even forgot? He had made a mistake in his calculations, and that is one of history's greatest moments when something like that happened, that someone was so critical with their own artwork. It amounted to history's greatest piece of self-criticism. The Colossus was hailed as the most perfect representation of a human form ever achieved, and was immediately declared to be one of the wonders of the world. I didn't really pay attention to the sense. The Colossus was hailed as the most perfect representation of a human form ever achieved. So the Colossus had the form of a human. Now we don't have a picture, but we have this illustration, and it has the form of a male human. And people say that is, or had then said that it is one of the best depicting of a human ever. And also immediately declared one of the wonders of the world. The Colossus is thought to have been 105 feet high, these are 30 meters, and to have weighed about 300 tons. Okay, the thing was maybe 30 meters high and weighed 400 tons. It stood near the harbor, but exactly where is not known. According to some accounts, ships sailed between its legs, and a large mirror set in its chest was so brilliant that it could be seen by ships leaving Egypt. Maybe you could calculate with the Earth, if it would be possible. Okay, the story tells that the thing was standing like a vat in the harbor, and that ships would drive through it there, and somewhere in the chest there was a big mirror, and the mirror could be seen to Egypt. It would be 400 kilometers, and the thing's just 30 meters high. We could maybe calculate it one day. We first have to know where Rhodes exactly is. But the Colossus was to be the most... Okay, where was it? According to some accounts, a ship sailed between its legs, and a large mirror set in its chest, it's not seen here, was so brilliant that it could be seen by ships leaving Egypt. But the Colossus was to be the most short-lived of the ancient world's wonders. Only 56 years after it was put up, an earthquake brought the Colossus crashing down on to the harbor rocks, where it lay broken into many pieces. So, it stood for 56 years, but then there was an earthquake and the thing collapsed into many pieces. The pieces were still there in the 1st century, but there still were no photographs. So they lay before around 400 years around. When the Roman historian Pliny described it, okay, Pliny described it, and he did it apparently in English, in modern English. No, I think it's a translation. Few men can clasp the thumb in their arms, and the fingers are larger than most statues. Where the limbs are broken asunder, vast caverns are seen yawning in the interior. Okay, let's do it again. So there was the Roman historian Pliny, and he one time, 2000 years ago, went to Rhodes, and they saw all these broken pieces of this thing which had collapsed 300 years earlier. And then he said about these pieces lying around there, few men can clasp the thumb in their arms, and the fingers are larger than most statues. Where the limbs are broken asunder, vast caverns are seen yawning in the interior. So he says that we can clasp the thumb in the arms, that the thumbs were so big that we could barely clasp around, I think, what does that mean? And the fingers are larger than most statues. Most statues seem to be human height, around 180. And already the fingers, one finger is larger than normally a person. Now we could calculate it. The finger was 40 meters high, and the fingers were vast caverns are seen yawning in the interior. I don't really understand it. What is the interior? When the anchored Arabs captured Rhodes in the 7th century after Dominion, so 700 years after Pliny was there, 300 years after the thing stood, the mighty statue remains suffered the final indignity of being sold, and 9 trips each by 100 camels were needed to carry the pieces away. Okay, we're saying 900 camels had to carry it. Now, 900 camels. Do we have some pieces? They seem to lie there around for 1,000 years. They didn't seem to go away. So if there are 900 camels just putting away, what can a camel carry? 50? But how long? I said 50 kilograms. There has to be still something there. And it would be possible to date it back if that thing is 2,300 years old. If all these pieces belong together, are from the same material. If it would be possible to get the material from what it is. So I think that legend, all the historical facts, are able to prove or strongly to disprove. Now, the Colossus of Rhodes, right? The harbour of Rhodes, the main town on the Aegean island of the same name, was the site of a huge monument known as the Colossus in the 3rd century before Christ. Below, the great Colossus of Rhodes, according to some accounts, once stood astride the entrance to the island's port, so high that ships could sail between its legs. Okay, but was it on the right side? The harbour at Rhodes, the main town on the Aegean island of the same name. Okay, Rhodes is the city, and also the name of the island. And that is the main town of Aegean. I don't have time to make a note of this. And there was this huge monument. Now I'm going to show you fast a picture from today from Rhodes. The only thing missing is the statue of Rhodes, so the thing proclaimed to be there. And where we have the Rhodes statue, the Colossus of Rhodes. Rhodes. Okay, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe we come back and do a second part. Maybe we're going to learn what we have learned here for a presentation and shoot in a video, and then that I'm going to present what we learned here. So maybe we're going to come back to a second part, to the Colossus of Rhodes. I have the idea we're going to do something about the Rhodes, the island, or the Aegean Sea, or to the bending of the Earth, so we can find that one thing out, if the Earth bends 20 meters. Whatever. Maybe not the Colossus of Rhodes, but I thank you very much, and until the next time, to the next part to learning history. Now we're going to do now the standing yoga in 2 minutes. So if you're here if you were here just for the Colossus of Rhodes, you can go to the next part, maybe again the Colossus of Rhodes or something else. We will do now the standing yoga. If you participate, register your arms. Legs are standing together, we're breathing in, we're doing the eagle swings and lift the arms up. And out, bring them again down. Breathe in and lift the arms up. And out and bring them down. Breathe in, lift the arms up. Make it into space between the feet. And breathe out, sinking down into the chair. Breathe in, come up again. Breathe out, open the arms to the side. Breathe in the arms up. And out the arms down. Breathe in and bring the arms up. And out the arms to the side. Again, in the arms up. And out the arms down. Going down to the chair. Breathe in, come up again. And breathe out, we're coming up on the tiptoes. Breathe in. And out, we're sinking down. Breathe again in and come up. And breathe out and come down. And again in and up. And out, close the feet, and we're going down. Around the penguin, breathe in, lift the right arm up to the sky. Breathe out, bend the left knee, look over the right shoulder to the right hand. Breathe in, bring the arm again in. And out and down. Breathe in, lift the left arm up to the sky. Breathe out, bend the right knee, Look over left shoulder to left. Breathe in and come down again. Out and down. Breathe in, come halfway up. And out and down. Again, in halfway up. Straight back. And out again down. Breathe in, bring the arms up. The up-diving swan. Close the hands and slowly lower the hands down. Do it. Hard center. Now 2 minutes over. Thank you very much and until next time.